Have you ever found yourself wondering, how the heck am I supposed to forgive someone who treated me like yesterday's leftovers? Oh, friend, you're not alone. I've been there, and today, we're gonna dive into the truth nobody tells you about narcissists and why forgiveness might just set you free more than them. So, how do you actually forgive a narcissist and yourself with real compassion? Because let's be real, forgiveness can feel like trying to hug a cactus sometimes. But if you stick with me till the end of this video, because by the time we're done, you'll have a superpower most people never even dream of. The power to heal your heart and see through the illusions of hurt. Ready? Let's get into the soul of it. So, is narcissism a conscious choice? Nope, not even close. And the truth behind it? It's more heartbreaking. And honestly, more healing than most people realize. We've all encountered that person who constantly dominates the room, flexing their status, craving admiration, needing to be the best at everything. It looks like arrogance, but more often, it's a shield. You know that coworker who derails every meeting just to list their accomplishments? People roll their eyes, but beneath that, bragging is a child who was never told, "I see you, I'm proud of you." Now, their worth feels borrowed from applause because they never learned how to grow it inside. Narcissism isn't born from bad intentions. It's a nervous system adaptation, a survival tool a child built when they didn't feel safe, seen, or loved. A little girl praised only for being quiet and good might learn to suppress her needs. A little boy who only got attention when he won something. He learns that achievement equals worth. So the mind does what it must to survive. A voice forms. I'm special, I'm powerful, I don't need anyone. That voice becomes armor, forged over a soul that never learned how to be loved as they are. Think of that friend who's always polished, always perfect, never vulnerable. They deflect compliments and never let you help. From the outside, it seems like strength. But inside, that's a person who was punished for being too emotional or too much growing up. So now they hide behind performance, hoping it earns them safety. But that armor comes at a cost. In order to protect the false self, empathy gets turned off. Not permanently, but it's placed behind thick glass. Because when someone's already drowning in their own pain, feeling yours might be too much to bear. So instead of connection, we see grandiosity, control, entitlement, the illusion of superiority. Ever dealt with a partner who could say hurtful things, then act like nothing happened? You're spiraling, but they're already watching Netflix. It seems cold, but really, sitting with your pain would trigger their buried shame. And they were never taught how to handle shame without self-destruction, so they avoid it completely. Let's go deeper. Most narcissists aren't monsters. They're scared children in adult bodies, wearing a crown made of duct tape and denial. They didn't choose this identity. They inherited it from silence, rejection, or survival. Have you ever tried setting a healthy boundary with someone, and suddenly they twist the story to make you the villain? What you see is manipulation. But what's really happening is identity panic. To admit fault would feel like death to their fragile ego. So instead, they rewrite the narrative. Not to control you, but to protect the only version of self they know. They're not acting narcissistic to hurt you. They're clinging to a defense mechanism that once helped them survive a world where love was conditional or absent altogether. Now that we understand where narcissism really comes from, the next question is, what the heck do we do with that understanding? Do we forgive? Do we walk away? Can we actually heal? Let's dive deeper, because this is where the transformation truly begins. But before we move forward, I just want to pause and say, thank you. Thank you for having the courage to sit with this truth, for being open enough to see beyond the surface of someone who may have caused you pain. This isn't easy work, but it's sacred, because the moment we begin to understand, not excuse, but truly understand, we start loosening the chains that kept us stuck in the same emotional loop. You being here right now means you're already doing the deep soul work most people spend lifetimes avoiding. And that makes you part of something beautiful, a collective of souls rising into compassion, not bitterness. So thank you for your heart, your presence, your willingness to heal. And if something in this chapter resonated with you, please share it in the comments. You never know, Your insight might be the lifeline someone else needs today. Now that we understand them, what do we do? All right, my friend, let's dive deeper. Now that we understand what makes a narcissist, the big question is, how the heck do I forgive them without feeling like I just handed them the keys to my emotional Ferrari? This is where things get real, because forgiveness isn't fluffy, it's fierce, and it starts with truth. Let's get one thing straight. Nothing, and I mean nothing, happens in your life by accident. There is always a divine order at play, even when it feels like chaos. Even when you're crying on the bathroom floor wondering, why them? Why me? That narcissistic person who entered your life, they didn't sneak past the universe's radar. They were part of your soul's curriculum. Ever meet someone who instantly triggered your deepest insecurities? Like they had a blueprint of every wound you tried to hide? That wasn't random. They may have been the very catalyst meant to expose the cracks you were finally ready to fill with self-worth. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, why would the universe send me this limited edition nightmare? Take a breath. Here's the soul-touching truth. You may have already learned what they came to teach you. Or maybe they're still learning something from you, because growth is never one-sided. Think of that ex who drained your energy and made you doubt your worth. The moment you finally walked away, not with rage, but with peace, that was the moment your soul passed the test. That person, they may still be circling their own lesson, but you evolved. Not sure what the lesson was? Here's your secret weapon. Start asking better questions. What was I meant to realize through this? What boundary did I finally build because of it? What truth did I stop hiding from? What version of self-love did I awaken? Maybe you once tolerated crumbs from someone who gave you nothing but chaos. Then one day you said, no more. That moment, that was you learning to love yourself louder than their dysfunction. If you haven't explored these questions yet, you're not behind. You're standing at the edge of a goldmine. Let's be clear about forgiveness. Now let's be crystal clear about something that gets so misunderstood. Forgiveness is not the same as permission. You are not a doormat at a spiritual shoe store. No thank you, universe. I prefer a throne. Ever hear someone say, but they're your family? As if that justifies the emotional whiplash they put you through. Nope. You can forgive someone and still revoke their VIP access to your peace. Because boundaries aren't punishment, they're protection. And forgiveness doesn't require reunion. It requires release. Let's talk about this word people love to throw around like spiritual glitter. Responsibility. It's not about fixing them. It's not about enduring in silence. And it's definitely not about guessing what they need while baking dinner and reading tarot on the side. Responsibility equals your ability to respond. Maybe your entire life, you were the peacekeeper, the fixer, the overgiver. And one day, you realized you were exhausted. That moment you said, I'm not doing this dance anymore. That wasn't weakness, that was spiritual strength. Because your peace is sacred ground, and your real power lies in protecting it. Let's take it home. Forgiving a narcissist is not about letting them off the hook. It's not about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about this one sacred choice. I choose my peace over your chaos. I release the invisible chains your wounds tried to wrap around me. I'm done carrying pain that was never mine to keep. Think of someone whose memory used to make your chest tighten. Now, it barely stings. That's not numbness. That's healing. That's you walking yourself out of their emotional prison and locking the door behind you. That, my friend, is real freedom. That is soul-level healing. And now, the biggest piece of all. What about forgiving yourself? Because even when we've escaped the storm, many of us are still blaming the version of ourselves that stayed too long in the rain. Let's go there next, with compassion, clarity, and power. Now, maybe you're thinking, okay, I understand this now, but how the heck do I actually do the forgiveness part when my brain is still throwing tomatoes at their memory? Oh, you're not alone. Stay with me. because next we're diving into the real, powerful, step-by-step healing you can actually feel. Let's go even deeper. Chapter 3. Forgiving them and forgiving yourself. The real work begins. Okay, beautiful soul. We've explored where narcissism comes from. We've uncovered the divine timing and soul contracts that shape these painful connections. But now comes the real hard work. How do we actually forgive them? And even more importantly, how do we forgive ourselves? This isn't just mental work. This is soul work. This is you reclaiming your power. One breath, one truth, one step at a time. Forgiving them through spiritual eyes. What forgiveness is not. Let's clear this up first. Forgiving a narcissist doesn't mean you approve of what they did. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. And it definitely doesn't mean inviting them back into your sacred space. You're not obligated to send them a holiday card unless it says, "Thanks for the karmic slap, champ." You set a boundary. They violated it. You distanced yourself. They smeared you for it. People around you might whisper, "But they're your family. Shouldn't you forgive?" Yes, forgive, but also protect, because self-love has no obligation to include repeat harm. Forgiveness, at its essence, is release. It's cutting the energetic cord that ties you to their pain. It's choosing freedom over resentment. I recognize that your actions came from your own pain, but I will not carry that pain forward. You don't forgive because they deserve peace. You forgive because you do. Someone once shattered your trust. You kept reliving the betrayal like it was happening all over again. But the day you whispered, "I release this," something shifted. That wasn't weakness. That was your soul laying down the weight it never should have carried. Understanding doesn't excuse, but it frees you. When you stop seeing the narcissist as a villain and begin seeing them as a wounded soul acting from scarcity, something opens up. They couldn't give you love because they never received it. They didn't learn compassion. They learned survival. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it explains it. An explanation builds the bridge to understanding. Understanding leads to compassion, and compassion becomes your key to freedom. Maybe your ex blamed you for everything, never owned a single mistake. At the time, you thought, how can someone be this emotionally blind? But looking back now, you realize they were just repeating the only pattern they ever knew, one they likely inherited from someone who broke them too. Forgiveness is you walking out of their emotional prison, locking the door behind you, and tossing the key into the deepest well you can find. You stopped arguing. You stopped proving. You stopped trying to get them to see it. That wasn't giving up. That was waking up. You're no longer trying to change them. You're reclaiming you. Forgiving yourself, the radical shift. Now let's talk about the real MVP of this healing journey. You. And oh, that inner critic. It can be brutal. What was I thinking? Why didn't I leave sooner? Why did I let it go on so long? How did I not see it? Let me say this with the gentleness of 1,000 angel wings. You did the best you could with the awareness, strength, and information you had at the time. You were spinning plates, chasing approval, surviving gaslighting, and still showing up for work or your kids or your dreams. That version of you was not weak. They were a warrior in the fog. Healing isn't about shaming your past self. It's about honoring the you who kept going through confusion, exhaustion, and heartbreak. That version of you, they showed up, they loved, they tried, and they survived. You packed school lunches while crying in the bathroom. You took deep breaths in grocery store aisles just to avoid panic attacks. And still, you loved, you endured, you held on. That version of you doesn't need judgment. They need a thank you. Tell them, thank you. You did the best you could. I've got it from here. Let me share something personal. When I first started waking up to my truth, I'd sit there cringing inside thinking, how did you not see it? I'd replay conversations, analyze every missed red flag, wonder why I tolerated so much for so many years. But then one day, it hit me like a cosmic 2x4 to the forehead. I wasn't broken. I wasn't blind. I was surviving. I was trying to love someone who didn't know how to love themselves, trying to fill a black hole with my own light. And honestly, I was amazing. I was resilient. I was messy, and still worthy of love. That was the moment real forgiveness began. Not for them, but for myself. Let's ground all of this in something practical, something real. Here's your soul checklist for true, lasting, soul-level forgiveness. Recognize the pain without letting it define you. You are not your trauma. You are the soul who survived it. Take radical ownership of your peace. You can't control what they did, but you can control what you carry forward. Thank the journey, even the messy parts. Every heartbreak was secretly an initiation into deeper wisdom. Choose to release. Not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve to breathe deeply again. You deserve your energy back. Speak to your past self with love, not shame. Close your eyes. Hug the version of you who was trying so hard. Whisper, "You're safe now." Before we close today, let me remind you, you are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not the version of you who once accepted crumbs because you didn't know you deserved a feast. Forgiveness isn't a reward you give someone who hurt you. It's a liberation you give yourself. It's you stepping into your power. If this video touched your heart today, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what's one thing you're proud of surviving? Let's celebrate your healing. Your story could be exactly what someone else needs to break free. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join this growing soul family. We are not just healing, we are rising together. Until next time, protect your peace, forgive with wisdom, and remember, you are already more whole and worthy than you realize. And I love you.